Yeah, Sunday, Hey, I'm back in my bag, I know they missing me. Ay, you know I go hard until they finish me. Ay, I wake up and grind, they try to limit me. Highway to heaven, you know we run high intensity. That's right. I'm back in my bag, I know they missing me. Ay, you know I go hard until they finish me. Ay, I wake up and grind, they try to limit me. Highway to heaven, you know we run high intensity. Sundays with Justin, Mondays we hustling, Tuesdays still training, by Wednesday it's draining, shot wet like it's raining. It's not though, try to knock me off my pivot, I'm straight to the block though. I can't do no pump fake, still watch out for the block though. I'm not your average player, I'm all-star status. Give all y'all answers, not no ball hog bastard. Jump shot look synthetic, but it's all natural. Body full of ice like I got back from.
What's up, y'all? It's Coach Justin. We're here again at the Sit Down Podcast. We have a very, very special guest, my guy, Don Caprice. How's it going, man?
How you doing, man? Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming down, man. First of all, I like to do a mental health check with all my guests, man, see how everything's going. I know the way of the world is so effed up right now, man. There's so much going on all over the place. So how's Don doing, man? How's everything in life for you right now?
I'm doing a lot better, bro. If we had done this interview 3 weeks ago, it would be a totally different story.
Really?
I just got back from Croatia. That's where my father's from, and my grandma's turning 100 years old.
Wow.
I was actually raised.
Wow, bro, that's a blessing.
And I haven't seen her in 8 years. So after going back to see her, my spirit, I feel like is a little bit more healed. So
really? That's interesting.
My mental health is doing a lot better. And I was battling a lot of demons prior, going through kind of a breakup, things with, my grandma's dying and shit like that. And comparing myself to others with my music career, kind of just feeling like I shouldn't be I'm not at where I should be.
Right.
After going and like kind of seeing how other people live and it's more simple, I realized that like, yo, just move at your own pace.
Made you more grateful?
And the first thing, and yeah, more grateful. I try to be grateful, bro, but sometimes when you're fighting all these demons, you can't force yourself to be grateful. You gotta witness something. And just going back to see my grandma, see my father, seeing all my little cousins, that did my soul good.
That's dope that you're first of all that you're aware of that, and then I appreciate you for sharing that because I think that's very important. And like you said off camera, it's like when you're dealing with social media and the social media internet world that we're living in today, it's so easy to constantly compare yourself to others and what they have going on. I like to say like these journeys never end. You know what I mean? Like you've progressed and you're at where you're at now, but it's not like the battle is over. You know what I mean? Anything can trigger you and take you backwards, so you kind of have to stay. But being aware is the toughest part. So the fact that you're aware of it is great. Yeah. Do you want to? I hate to interrupt you. Do you want to touch on something like what you were dealing? I know you mentioned a breakup. Is there anything other than that specifically that you were dealing with? That kind of.
Yeah. No, I want to open up. The breakup, I got out of a relationship with a very toxic woman, and I have a lot of love to give. You feel me? That's how I was raised. I give to a lot of people. That's kind of what I realized about myself after that relationship. It's not just about me and women, it's me with everybody. I'm very open to letting people into my life, bro. And it's kind of dangerous. Very. It's a bad generation for good people because there's we live in a generation, especially with social media, of narcissism, manipulation, and just like no more loyalty. And if you are still living by like that old code, I'm a man of God.
You don't fit in.
Yeah, you can get easily hurt. So
that's I hate to interrupt you again, but I don't want you to speed past that.
It's all good, man.
I don't want you to speed past that because that was profound. Because I feel the same way about myself, right? And I find myself, I'm a big mental health guy. I'm in therapy. And I mention this on every show, which is great. That's kind of what pushed me into doing this. But I find myself, I'm very introverted, right? And most of it is like a defense mechanism because I know when I'm around people, I'm such an empathic person that I'm trying to help everybody. I'm trying to take everybody with me. I'm trying to so I have to sometimes seclude myself and isolate myself for my own protection. And it took a while for people around me to understand that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I knew what I needed to do in order for myself to progress because I'm the guy who will give my last to everybody around me and then I'm left with nothing.
And put yourself last.
Exactly.
It's really important to protect your energy. I could go story after story, betrayal and all that, but the main thing that I realized about myself is I'm just really tired of giving myself to people, having all this love to give, and then just feeling my spirit drain, and then those people having no empathy for me, like, look what you're doing to me.
It's such a slap in the face, bro.
And it hurts, bro. Like, it really hurts. And the thing that I don't like is because when you're empathetic and when you're giving, eventually you stop doing that, and you become a monster.
Bro, you're preaching.
And I can't let myself fall out of character or lose my code because I'm trying to prove myself to someone who already doesn't appreciate me. And that's just something I'm tired of. As the more I'm becoming a man, I just can't. You can't give someone more something they don't already appreciate. And the thing that I regret most is stepping out of character, becoming a monster, because I had to become a version of myself to survive with, you know, friends that I couldn't trust, women that were manipulative, even like family members that broke my trust. And for me to like keep those people in my life, it doesn't matter how loving I am, for me to survive, I became a monster. And I don't want to be a monster no more, bro. And that's where I'm at in my life. Is I want to love people who love me. And it's the problem with me is sometimes I'll meet someone that's ready to love me, a friend, a girl, but because I'm so used to the toxic or the chaos in my life, I won't accept that love in my life. So I got to open up my heart to bigger blessings. And I think the problem I had even through childhood is I didn't believe I deserved those blessings, which is why I'm always grinding. I'm always going through some shit. I'm always mentally like, oh, I can't get there. But you got to open up that portal. You feel me? So that's kind of that's where I'm at right now. Like I want to accept more love in my life, accept more blessings. And I want to trust again, you feel me? I don't want to have these barriers like, oh, I don't trust you, you know? Like, there's still good people in the world.
Where were you born again?
I was born in Sacramento, California. But my father, he's Croatian, and he's born in Croatia. My mom's Chicana, she's half Mexican. She's full Mexican, but she was born in the States. And not that it's important, but they met in a bar, and then 9 months later, poof, you get a mixed baby. Yeah, and so I grew up with two different kind of lifestyles. My dad's he's very old school, like work very hard, provide for the family. He doesn't really go out. He doesn't go out like that. Like he stays home and he works on the house. And I like that because he instilled that into me. Whereas my mom, she's Mexican and they enjoy going out. So I have like this, I have two sides to me. I have the side that wants to stay like humble and just kind of like be a family man. And I have this other side of me that, I mean, I'll have to get turned too. Shit.
Yeah. Is that ever like a battle for you within yourself? Like
Absolutely.
Being torn both ways?
Absolutely. Because addiction runs in my family, mostly on the Mexican side. Like pills, alcoholism does too. And I feel like that sometimes I have addictive tendencies. Like I've never found myself at like rock bottom, but I've definitely caught myself before. Like I can
here.
You know, and I like if I start drinking and I start feeling good, I want to drink more.
Same here.
And then I start touching other substances, and I'm really don't want to be that type of dude. But when you get that taste of the devil's nectar, it's easy to want more. And so that's a battle. But at the same time, I've gotten into modes where like I'm not drinking, I'm not eating meat, I'm meditating every day, and it's not the funnest thing to do, but it does my spirit good. And the crazy thing about it is when I'm on this side of the spectrum of like partying, drinking, hanging out with women, I have a lot of friends. When I'm on this side of the spectrum of meditating and trying to be a good person, literally trying to be a good person, I find myself very lonely or not surrounded by people. Definitely closer to God, so I'm never lonely, but definitely less people in my life. And my phone will be more dry, you know? And it's crazy. That's just how life goes.
That's it's so funny, and not funny literally, but it's just how the universe works. Because in a lot of stuff you're saying, I feel you 110% because it's same here. Do you you mentioned your addictive personality? Do you ever feel like sometimes you get addicted to people?
Hell yeah, I get addicted to friendship, and one of my biggest vices I get addicted to the woman that I love. I fall in love very easily because I care a lot. I'm a good friend in general, bro. Like I'll come pick you up, I'll come pay for your drinks, I'll drive you home, I'll pay for your food, and most of the times I'll find myself like not getting that back from anybody, but I'll pick them up, spend $100, it's all good, I got you, and I'll never get that back. And so I get addicted to the friendship and like kind of having a circle, and then I get addicted to women too, just because every man wants a good woman in his life,
For sure.
And my problem is sometimes I fall in love with the wrong woman.
I don't want to say that's your problem though, because when you meet somebody, we're all coming with this costume on.
Yeah.
So it's like we try to present the best version of whatever we think that person wants, because obviously there's an attraction there, right? So I don't want to say let's kind of change. I'm in therapy, right? Before we finish this, it's like and my last therapist.
I've been to therapy too.
Really, that's dope. That's dope.
Hold that thought.
No, go for it.
Hold that thought. I think we need to. Men should feel like they can go to therapy.
For sure.
I feel like there's still like that I don't know if it's toxic masculinity, but I feel like men are scared to go to therapy and open up about that. That's why I respect you for saying that, because it like shows a sign of weakness. It doesn't. Going to therapy shows a sign of growth, and growth is strength.
Yep.
So
I agree.
Kudos to you, man.
No, I appreciate that, and that's kind of why I'm so vulnerable about it, because I want people in my, and not just black men, black people, period, people from the inner city, people not from the urban community, wherever you come from. We all have issues. They're just in different capacities.
And you need to tackle those.
You need to. We suppress so much. It's that survival mechanism again that you mentioned earlier. It's like the need for survival. I got to keep going. I got to keep going. I got to get here and there. But the reason why I interrupted you when you said it was a problem is because my last therapy session, my therapist and I were really focusing on just the language that I use, and just how his words are powerful. I mean, obviously you're an artist, so you believe that. I know I believe that.
Spelling,
yeah,
spellcasting,
yeah, everything. So that's kind of why I said, let's not say it's a problem. It's just you've been fooled. You've been bamboozled by women. And we all have. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've been on the other end of that too, because I know I have, where we kind of maybe might put something off to where it might not be 100% true, but we might want to get, whatever we want out of a situation.
Exactly. I think the most selfish thing, it was a little bit more selfish for me. This isn't just about my last relationship. I noticed this about patterns of women in my life is there's 3 things that I notice. Number 1 is I create this idea of who I want them to be in my head. But the cold hard truth is when I met this person, this woman, these women, plural, they were already who they were. Yep. And I wanted to change them. So right on from the start, no matter how much love I gave them, it was selfish for me to want to change somebody, because no one is entitled to giving you attention or changing for you just because you want them to. Number 2, I'm not proud of this, but I've become addicted to heartbreak sometimes because I just find myself making great music. Great music.
That's interesting.
Some of the best music I've ever made has been in a realm of depression, heartbreak, and I make beautiful music, and sometimes I keep myself in that realm of depression because I make good stuff, and I think that's bad. I eventually want to start making stuff that's more fun that people can dance to. Number 3 is just being lonely. So like when I have a woman in my life, I feel less lonely. I don't like to sleep alone, bro. I like cuddling. It's all good.
Right, there's nothing wrong with
I've had some one night stands where I cuddle with the bitch. So like I'm a loving man. So but those 3 things are selfish in me to even though like these women who have broken my heart, I've done stuff that wasn't good to them either. But for me to put all the blame on them, it's selfish for me to not grow, because these women that I met, they were who they were before I met them. So I gotta go. I want to go into relationships loving them for who they are before, not changing them. There shouldn't be a project.
I haven't seriously dated in a long time. Going on 2018, over 4 years now, 4.5, going on 5 years since since my last relationship. But part of that is because I started to realize, and I want you to chime in on this as well, but I started to realize the part I played in the situations, and how, like you said, I might have triggered somebody, or maybe in a reaction. And I used to drink a lot as well, so it was the same type of things. And I realized most of the shit that I've done and I regretted in my life, I did while I was drunk. And that's what kind of made me want to say, and again, it runs in my family as well on both sides. So it was like, okay, damn, I got to make a conscious effort to get in control of this. Otherwise, I'm going to make a decision that I'm not going to be able to bounce back from.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, what was it? Because I just listened to you talking. We've been about 15 minutes in, and we're not even really in the story yet, just because you're talking so profoundly about mental health, and that's kind of what my platform is based around.
Yeah.
But what was it was it like an epiphany that happened? Was it a specific situation? Did somebody come to you? Like what helped you become more self-aware?
It was 3 situations. So the first one was my mother is. I hate talking about family addiction on like social media, but I feel like if I don't open up, there might be someone who needs to hear this. But my mother's an addict and a really bad alcoholic, and I became the person I was very early. I became very self-aware of consciousness and death, watching my mother go down that path of addiction and alcoholism. And basically, when I was 8 years old, my mom got really drunk, and she ended up trying to stab me. And she actually stabbed my father in the arm. And I was 14. I was 14. And she was really drunk, and that shit never left my head.
Wow.
and I saw her stab my dad, and I saw the blood come out, and I vividly remember everything, and I actually remember my mom getting the knife and going like this to her wrist, my dad trying to take it out of her hand, and then stabbing him, and me having to call the police, and this was the day before my eighth grade graduation. I even remember my cat crying on the fucking window, trying to open up, like it was just, and I remember my grandma, who's 100 years old right now, just like crying, and just like, I just thinking in my head, like, is this normal? And it became normal in my head, and that moment right there, I think, triggered me and put me into survival mode. That's when I became this dude who's like, nah, fuck this. Like, no one's ever getting, like, no one's ever gonna know who I am, because that's where the love to give and like that survival mode kicked in. Number 2 was when my dad had 2 heart attacks. So I was 21. I just graduated college. My parents were divorced at the time, and divorces take a long time. Like the property and all that. And basically through the divorce, before everything was finalized, before my dad even had his will, to leave me what he wanted to leave me, and my mom also battling addiction, my dad had 2 heart attacks. So I remember like I get the call from my mom. She's like, "Oh, your father's in the hospital." She's crying, and I go over there and I see this guy who's like my hero, my hero. Like, this is my rock. I used to look at this guy like, you're invincible, dude. You're fucking invincible. Like, I used to think like if he got shot, the bullet would just come off. And I see him with all these needles in him, vulnerable, not able to work anymore. And then that made me click like, fuck, I'm not young anymore either. I'm not a kid. I'm going to be a man in 9 years. Like, I'm officially going to be 30 in 9 years. And I got to get my shit together. He gets out of the hospital. He comes to visit me, and he's good right now. And then basically, we're talking. We get in a little stupid argument about the past. Stupid argument. I think it was just we're both stubborn, and I go, you know what, fuck this, let's go get some coffee. And I turn to the left, he gets out of the car, and then I'm like parking, I go on my phone, I'm texting somebody, and all I hear is boom. I'm like, what the fuck was that? It sounded like a gunshot. I look back and I don't see anything, and I'm like, what the hell? And then I didn't see anything. I'm still going back on my phone. I had to finish a couple texts, and I get out of the car, and my dad is on the floor with blood coming out of his head. So he got out and had another heart attack and slammed his head on my car.
No fucking way.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, and this is all so surreal, that just everything happening to me. And I'm like, up to this point, I'm like, what the fuck? There's no way. Like, my mom was also in the hospital at the same time. She had a spinal cord infection, so she couldn't walk.
Wait, how old are you at this point?
I was 22.
22. Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So my mom's in the hospital too. I forgot to mention that she has a spinal infection, which I think stemmed from all the drugs and alcoholism, and she wouldn't stop, so she couldn't walk. They had to stick a needle up her spine to drain out the bacteria, and they had to slice open her spine, and it's crazy shit. Like, it's crazy shit, the type of sickness you can get. Then with all that happening and like, me trying to like just be the glue of the family, my dad has another heart attack right in front of me. He's like, I don't feel good. So my dad's a big motherfucker. If you look on Instagram, my dad's like 225 pounds. And he's 6'1". I'm like, fuck. So I have to pick this dude up. And I'm not that big, I'm strong, but it's a lot to lift out of a man. And he's like, literally,
it's almost like dead weight too.
Yeah. So I pick him up and I get him to my car and I start speeding to the hospital. And I'm like, all I could think in my head is like, is my dad gonna die of a heart attack in my car right before we have an argument over this some stupid shit?
Right,
I can't even remember what we're arguing about.
Wow, bro.
And so I get him to the hospital. He's good, and it's just all this shit happening at once while also trying to like keep my mental health, juggle a relationship, my music career, pay my rent, And I'm like, dude, I gotta be better. Like, this shit can't happen. I can't be arguing with my father. I can't be like doing this. That's when my sober journey started. Like, I stopped eating meat for a year, stopped having sex for a year.
Really?
Yeah. Stopped porn for a year, everything. And stopped smoking, everything. I stopped everything, started meditating. I didn't necessarily go to church because I believe that your relationship with God can be with yourself. Right. And I don't agree with everything that the Bible says, but I believe in the moral code of being a good person, and I do believe in God. So that's when everything started. And then I moved to Vallejo, opened up my studio. And
oh, you have your own studio?
I do. I was a busboy for like my whole life. I started working when I was 8 years old, but I always tried to record and make beats.
We'll get to that. I don't want to interrupt you. Go back to the
yeah. Then I opened up a studio, meet some people, meet a lot of good people, and then I started falling into like the Bay Area lifestyle. So I fell back to it. I was good for like 5 years, and I fell back to it. Met the person that I fell in love with. Bless her soul. I wish her the best. Still love you, by the way. And she was in that lifestyle too. and I fell even deeper into the lifestyle, like more drugs, more alcohol. We're talking like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I just stopped working. Like it was because I work for myself, so sometimes I'd stop going to the studio, hanging out with her, and she wasn't good for me, but I got addicted to that lifestyle. I fell back into it, and then I found her, and then we were both like that. And then I remember one day I got drunk, and I remember screaming. We were arguing over like the typical shit, other guys. This is the typical shit we all know. And I'm just screaming, punching the wall, and I just lose myself. And I'm like, bro, I don't. And then I leave, and I just remember like I don't ever want to do that because I remember seeing my mom do that. And so it was those 3 moments in my life that got me back to the point that I'm at right now of like remembering who I was. But it's crazy. 5 years of just like mental health, sobriety. I would drink a little bit here and there, and then just you can relapse like that.
Yep.
And you can even get worse.
Yep.
And I think that was the thing that was the thing I was battling the most, was the person I was a couple months ago. I was like, damn, I miss who I was in the past. And I'm like, I miss that guy. And I've been trying to get back to that person ever since.
Dope.
So I'm trying to I want to elevate. I want to be strong. I want to be a hero. I want to be a motivator. So that's what got me to this point that I'm at right now.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you right now?
I'm 28.
28.
Yeah.
28.
Yeah. So
That's interesting.
I'm not too young, but I'm not too old either.
Right.
Those childish tendencies that I used to have can't keep going. I mean, they can, but at one point in your life as a man or just as a person, you have to decide where you want to be in 5 years, and who is that version of yourself that you have to be right now to get to that point.
Exactly.
And every time you ask yourself that question, it requires one thing: sacrifice.
Yep.
So I was very conscious of that when I was 21 and 22. But like I said, sometimes you just get lost in the sauce.
So let's go back a little bit. Let's go. So you were born in Sac.
Yes.
And then were you raised in Sac as well?
I was born and raised in Sac. Yeah.
Okay. And so then you moved to Croatia at one point?
No, I was back and forth between Croatia
So let me ask you this: you grew up with your mom and your dad in the same house
for most of my life.
for most of your life?
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you go to school?
West Campus High School.
And that's in Sac?
That's in Sac.
Okay, bet. Yeah. All right. And then did you play sports, anything?
I definitely like to say that I played basketball, but I just was never really that good. I loved it though.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. I never really hit 6 feet. I like to say that I played soccer, but I never really was that good. I was good at volleyball though.
Really?
Yeah, I played volleyball in high school. That was the only sport I was actually really good at.
That's dope.
I wish I could say I was.
That takes athleticism though. A lot of people don't realize that.
It does.
It's a lot of fucking athletes in volleyball.
I actually got in better shape playing volleyball than I did playing basketball, but basketball was just so much cooler. I really wish I could say right now, like, I wish that I was the point guard in my high school, but I wasn't. I'm all right, but like I
feel you.
I never had that proper training. But what I always was good at, what I'm a natural at, is music. Like I started playing guitar when I was 5.
Really?
Play the accordion too.
Who got you into music? Does anybody in your family do music? Or
my grandpa on my Mexican side, he was a mariachi. Doesn't read music, and he taught me how to play music by ear. And,
really?
Yeah. And my father's uncle, who's a priest, he's dead now, in Croatia. He was very. He knew music theory. Like he wrote his own music, wrote his own books.
Oh wow!
So I think my natural instinct for music came from my uncle. The fact that I can like understand music the way that I do on a deeper level, and I think my gift came from my grandpa, like to be able to just hear music and play. And it's just always been in me. Like I can't fight it. Like I love basketball, but I was never gonna be a basketball player. Never.
At what point do you start recording music, like in a professional studio and stuff?
Professional or just recording in general?
Just recording.
First time I ever entered a studio, I was 14. It was in Sacramento, and my friend's brother was rapping, and the beat was just awful. So I picked up a guitar. I was like, "Yo, let me lay some loops on this shit." And everyone was like, "What the fuck? Like what the fuck? You play guitar?" And at this point in my life, I'm very embarrassed about music. I've never been in a studio. I was like, "Yeah, I play guitar. This shit's easy." And I remember the engineer going like, "Hey, like, I need you to help me make beats." I was like, "It's good." My family, who's foreign, doesn't really like let me do that as a kid because like, we don't. No family goes, "Yeah, I want my kid to be a producer."
Right.
So that was the first time I entered the studio. In college, I went to UC Santa Cruz, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I graduated with anthropology. I don't recommend it. It's just what I could finish. Going back into that, I started recording in my dorm room at 17. I remember me and my friend Zach. he left because his best friend died of suicide.
Oh wow.
And his other friend got shot and killed. So he was the guy that got me into recording on FL Studio. I use Reason now though, Pro Tools too. I remember we'd put up our mattresses against the door and put the pillow around the mic and try to record in the dorm room. So that's where I started recording. And then I saved up some money and I built a little home studio in college. Very, very, very cheap. You know, I was working like for minimum wage. It was hard to get by in college. And I remember skipping a math exam, a final that I needed to pass the class because I was recording my first song and I can't explain this to you, bro. I couldn't stop recording. I couldn't stop. Like I look at the books like I need to study, but I couldn't stop recording. And I ended up just staying up all night, didn't study for the exam. And I finished the song and I was like, fuck, like I can't explain it. I go to the exam, whatever. I get a C in the class.
What?
We're talking like what's that, like logic or not? It was a statistics. We're talking statistics exam. Like the shit's not easy.
Yeah, it's not.
And I needed to get an A on this exam to get a C in the class. That's how much I was skipping class to record music. And I don't know, but like
wow, bro. And so when you're in college, are you like renting out your studio to let other people record? You just doing it for yourself?
I'm just learning at this point. I have no guidance, no mentor. Santa Cruz wasn't the best place to get into recording. I definitely wish I would have went to SF State because there's more of an outlet in the Bay for music, and like there's more mentors and there's more people who are like-minded like me. But that's kind of what made me the boss that I am today. After I graduated, though, I tried, you know, at this point I'm still busting tables. Like I didn't get a job after college. I didn't do that good. I started getting like local rappers to come into my room and record for $25 an hour, but it wasn't paying the bills. But for the most part, I was trying to teach myself how to make music. It's like I know how to produce, I know how to engineer, and that's kind of like why I was doing it.
So you learned how to produce and engineer before you actually
Opened up the studio?
Really?
Yeah, self-taught.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is I'm self-taught with all of this shit too.
It takes a special type of person.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of.
You got to be dedicated.
It takes a lot of ADHD.
But like you said, is you get addicted to it. Mm-hmm. Like I would find myself like watching YouTube videos, comparing products, and just learning like, and how a lot of the shit that I learned was just I would make a mistake and then I would learn how to not make that mistake again. You know what I mean? Or I would learn how to try to fix that mistake.
Exactly. That's how I learned everything I've ever done. And I think part of the reason that I didn't do good in school is I'm not good at listening to other people teach me stuff. Not in the sense that like I'm a bad coworker. It's just I need to be hands-on.
We all learn different.
Yeah, exactly.
We all
like
learn different.
if I were to ever learn code for a computer science, I couldn't imagine myself reading a book and like I'd have to I'd have to watch someone who writes the code and then mentally vision that.
Yeah.
That goes back into the reason why I don't read music. I know
You still don't read music.
I know how to, but I can't. There's people who look at books, right, and just play the music as they're looking at the books, which is fucking amazing, by the way. I can't do that. So what I do, or what I used to do, and I still do, is I'd look at people's hand movements, and I'd watch it on the piano, and then I watch it on the guitar, and I go, okay, he went right there, and then I mimic it. But I also hear it too. So I can.
So you associate the movement with the sound.
Yeah, and I also can hear the key of I can hear the key of a song and play and solo on a piano or solo on a guitar just by hearing it.
Really?
Yeah, and that's just how it works in my head. I never had the patience to learn how to read. I know how to read music. I know the basics, C, D, E, F, G, whatever, sharps and minors. But like for me to sit there and like go like that, it's just way easier for me to listen to a song and then hear it out. And play
that makes sense.
I'll learn it in an hour. If I try to play it like this from left to right, it will take me a week. So, and I'm all about moving fast. So if it works for me, then I'm gonna do it. Like
that. Facts. I mean, if it's like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Wasn't Beethoven blind?
I'm not sure.
Someone was blind.
I wouldn't.
One
know.
of those.
Have you ever seen the movie August Rush?
Nah.
Okay, yeah. That's
What's that about?
He's like a musical prodigy. He's like the guitar is sitting weird. He's like playing it like this and but he's going crazy though. Yeah, like he's like going fucking wild. What's crazy is I was in high school and I'll never forget this. We were about to play in the state championship up at Arco Arena in Sac. And my teammate Will saw the movie and we stayed up there overnight. So we were all laying around in the hotel room waiting to go to the arena later because we played like the 8 o'clock game. And we're all in the hotel as a team watching this movie. And Will was the only one who saw the movie. And he was telling us how good it was. And I love music. So I love singers. I love music, period. So I really loved the movie. I ended up buying the DVD and shit. But anyway, it's kind of how he was. It was just like a natural fucking prodigy.
August Rush.
Yeah, August Rush is the
watch
movie.
that.
Yeah, I'll text it to you so you don't forget.
It's good.
But so yeah, let's go back into the story. So where do you think your business mind comes from?
I can't really explain it, but like it's two things. My dad owned a business. He was a plumber. And also my family grew up very poor. Like I remember every month we're barely getting by.
Really?
Yeah. But I grew up poor. But my dad always found a way to make bills and keep elevating. Like he just I think just watching him work 12 to 16 hours a day is what gave me the mental peace to know that no matter what happens, I'm gonna be okay. Because I could fall off tomorrow. I fallen off dozens of times. I could fall off tomorrow, and if I lost everything today, even the studio, if it's not gonna happen though,
Right.
I would go get 3 jobs. I would go work at McDonald's, and then I'd go work at Starbucks, and then I'd find another job to fill in those hours so I could get back really quick. Like I don't care about pride or ego like that. So that's where it came from. But it really started. It started because if you go to college and you're gonna major, like don't take this personally. It started because when I was really young, I saw that like there's thousands of people going to college every year. There's only so many jobs, and I see people majoring in bullshit like for anthropology. There's no anthropology job, or like if you major in ethnic studies, there's no ethnic studies job. There is and there isn't. But you have thousands of kids majoring in this bullshit, and I saw that early. And I also saw that, like, hey, like, I tried to do biology. I tried to do business. I was failing. I was like, hey, so these majors that can get me good jobs aren't working for me. They have a list of all this other bullshit that doesn't really get you into a field that can make you a living. So I'm not going to lie. I started selling weed. And it was making me way more money. And then and then I was also working a job, too, because it's expensive to live in the Bay. And then I was working 3 jobs doing this, and I started selling T-shirts, and eventually I opened up a studio. Then I started recording people for money at the studio, and I'm making like $30, $40, $50 an hour. So I started seeing like, okay, so if I really put the work in, I can actually make money off this shit. Then I looked up what people like nurses make, or I look up what people like at tech jobs make. They're making about $35 an hour too. So I'm like, all right, so what do I want to do? Do I want to go work for someone else, make them rich? And spend all this money getting in debt, or do I want to work on myself and possibly make $1 million? And then I started thinking about it. All these millionaires, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, like they started companies. That's how they got rich. You rarely see people that get jobs and become rich. You gotta like get into it. So I guess it was just seeing how the world is going and seeing who wins and wanting to win, and then also my father.
Do you and this is kind of backtracking into the story a little bit. Do you think the dynamic between your mom and your father's relationship played a part in played out kind of in your relationships?
Absolutely. You know who Sigmund Freud is? Okay, so he's a very famous philosopher, and he says that everyone in the world has a mother and father complex. So you got to look. I read a lot of psychology, and I like to listen to a lot of motivational speakers. Like that's how I got the knowledge that I do now. Yeah, my mom wasn't necessarily the best mother. I love her to death, and I'll always love her. But I definitely think that when I needed her to be home and loving, going to the bar and going partying wasn't the best move that a mother should do. Not that there's anything wrong with partying, but at one point you need to be a father, you need to be a mother. So I want people to hear that. So I find myself being attracted to crazy women that like to party.
Do you have any kids?
I don't have any kids.
Okay.
I really do want kids though. I a lot of my friends had kids at 16, 17, 20 with, and watching that clicked really. I'm like, I don't want to go through what this guy's going through. Like it could get worse. Like and I'm sorry to all my friends who have kids.
Nah, trust me, I know they know what you mean because I know what you mean.
Do you have kids?
Yeah, I have 2 kids.
Okay.
I have my son at 23, and then I have a 2-year-old daughter who just made 2 last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
that's a blessing. I do want kids. I really hope that I have kids soon too. I think having.
I only asked that because what you said about when it comes to your parents, I first of all 100% agree with you, right? Because I deal with the same thing with my parents, and it's not it's just in the sense of looking back in hindsight. It's like you didn't really equip me with the tools needed to thrive. You kind of and it's not an attack or a slight to my parents, because I mean they did only what they knew, and they were taught.
Yeah.
They're programmed.
Yeah.
And my whole thing was, okay, I played basketball. I was decent in basketball, so I was able to go to college. And this whole time I was just like, my freshman year, quick story, my freshman year in college, I read an article called "Colleges for Suckers," and it was pretty much, in the article they were pretty much shitting on college. Pretty much, it was just saying how people go to all of these Ivy League schools, they'll get a PhD, and then they're outside of 7-Eleven begging for change. And I'm a very, obviously I interview people for a living now, but I'm a very like, but why? Like, it has to make logical sense to me in order for me to accept things, right? And I learned that in college, a lot of the shit that they were teaching me just didn't make sense to me. So I couldn't agree with it or echo. And the same thing with corporate America, which puts me into entrepreneurship. It's like, I can't echo your sentiment as a company if I don't agree with it. I just can't. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to rebel. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Not in an outlandish way. You might not even know I'm feeling this way, but internally it just won't feel right. But I say all that to say, it's like, when it comes to just to thriving in this country, it's like, bro, you have to almost go against the norm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like you have to, like, and that, again, this is my opinion. I'm not saying it's fact based, but I knew what I needed to do to get where I want to go. And then having kids was another thing. You know what I mean? It's like,
Kind of brings out a beast in you.
yeah, it's like, bro, I have to get, it's that need for survival. And it's like, I don't want to be the parent that my parents were to me. I want to be able to, when my son needs something, I can do it immediately. It doesn't have to be, beating around the bush and all of those things. And the only reason I asked if you had kids is because I had to learn, again, going through therapy, I had to learn to forgive my parents, because I realized so much resentment had built up towards them, and not in a way to where I would ever disrespect them, because I'm really close with my mom and dad. I talk to them every day. I talk to them. They're like my best friends, honestly.
Yeah. It's funny how we get closer to our parents the older we get.
Yeah, because you start to understand more. You start to understand.
Like, damn, you were right.
Yeah, you can relate.
He wasn't a good friend.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Fuck that dude.
That's a fact. But yeah, so how is the relationship with your parents now?
It's okay. So I love my dad's my best friend too.
That's dope.
He's my leader.
That's dope.
I follow his footsteps. Like, motherfucker had 2 heart attacks and still won't die.
Is he?
He's in Croatia.
He's in Croatia.
Yeah, he's that's where his family is. That's where.
How long ago did he move back?
When I was 21.
How did you take that?
It hurt.
Really?
It hurt really bad. I wasn't close to my dad growing up. Me and my dad actually butt heads a lot. Paul, I mean, he grew up. If you know anything about Croatia, like by the time he was 28, my age, he was leaving the country because there was a war going on. Like, his country was getting bombed. He came here with 32 cents. So when it comes to ideologies,
he has a different level of survival.
He's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you have everything. You have a bed. You have food. Like,
Yeah.
I was starving. So I understand him a lot more now, because I had to go through some shit to understand, like, damn, it really could get worse. So we butt heads, because, like, when I'm growing up, I didn't ask to be born. And he's like, when I was this age, I had to go through this. I'm like, bro. I'm like, I get
do his accent, bro.
Everyone laughs so hard when I do that. That's how he talks, though. He talks like this. Like, do you know what I had to do? I came here with 32 cents. I'm like, all right, Dad, we get it. But, like, most kids my age didn't have a father that came from that. So, like, I'm comparing myself to all these kids who
That's
have,
a
like,
very good point.
regular shit. So it's hard for me to just, what do you want me to do? You want me to just wear these white tees my whole life? You want me to just wear the same jeans for 5 years? Like, I'm going to school looking broke, dude. Like, I look like you guys don't love me, but he was trying to teach me strength, and it worked.
I know you grew up not, I don't want to say poor, but you didn't have a lot.
We always had food on the table.
That's dope.
We had a running heater.
That's dope.
We had water. And my dad was really good at remodeling houses. So he made the house look really nice.
That's dope.
We always had that. We didn't have money for trips. We didn't have money for clothes. We didn't have money to do that extra stuff.
Yeah.
We never went to Disneyland. That's what I mean. Like, if he bought me a pair of pants and they were still good, I'm not getting a new pair of pants.
Right.
It was that type of stuff. We weren't buying, like, we weren't going out to eat a lot. But I respected a lot.
How was the rest of the community? What did like the people? Did your friends at school have money? And I asked that because I went to school in Pleasanton for a little while, coming from Oakland, and these dudes are driving Beamers to high school, and I don't even have a car. I don't even have my life. It's just you see the levels in life. So are you growing up with people around you who have more than you, or they're able to do these extracurricular activities and things like that?
I'm growing up with both. Sacramento is very, very. It's very different. It was funny. Like, there were some kids that had a lot more money. Like, they had cars and all that, and they had all the clothes that they wanted. But they lived in they lived in poor areas, so they kind of repped that, like, I'm hood, but they always had what they needed. So I'd be like, you don't know what struggle is.
Yeah.
Because I remember like there was some days I started working when I was 8 years old.
Really?
Yeah, and I got my first job at 14 for $5 an hour, and I remember
You
bringing
got your first job what?
14
Really?
for $5 an hour washing dishes. I remember there was days that I'd bring home leftover food from the taqueria just so my grandma could eat. So that was the life that I went through, and sometimes people give me a hard time because I'm half white, like, oh, you're white this, white that. But I'm like, dude, do you know what I go through as a white kid? You know, like, and that's kind of like some of the battles that I had. But I learned to like block that out. But there were some kids, you know, that would give me a hard time because my dad's white and they think he's rich and all that. But I'm like, do you know, like, you don't know what we went through, you know? So that would irritate me. Now I understand, whatever, you know, like it's all this big scheme to keep us divided.
And at the time, they probably didn't even understand what Croatia really is because he's white, but technically. It's not white.
yeah, no, he's European. Yeah. That dude is he's like, fresh.
There's a difference.
Yeah, exactly. But then I also had I made a lot of friends with like, you know, with kids who didn't have as much stuff, you know. So I made a lot of good friends in high school. I would never knock any friend. Like one of my best friends, he was full on white, blue eyes, and he was an orphan.
Oh wow.
And he was my best friend. So like I didn't have there's never any problems like that. It was more of the thing that I went through the most was not being able to, speaking of like not having a lot of people to like confide in, is like my mom was an alcoholic and she was a drug addict and she wasn't the best mom. I got jealous of all the kids who had mothers. I'm coming home and the mom's like, are you hungry? Here's some food.
Wow.
Love and kiss. And I'm saying all this shit. And that's where my resentment for the world started. I actually just realized that. I just remembered that right now. I was like looking at you like, you don't talk to your mom like that. You don't even know how much she loves you, you know?
Wow,
like,
bro. That's interesting.
That's where my resentment came from. Because I'm seeing all these people with loving mothers. And my best friend who was an orphan, actually, his mom was an addict too. So he didn't have a mom either. And I think that's why me and him became so close.
Are you guys still close?
No, you know, like life happens. He has a kid.
For sure,
we had a falling out over some stupid shit. I'll always love the dude, but you know,
sometimes that happens.
You just grow up. You know what I mean? Like I started chasing music. He was doing construction. Just life happens.
Yeah, no,
Eventually, you become a man, and then you know he's got a kid right now. I'm not trying to bring him over here into the rap life. Like raise your kid, bro.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That's actually interesting. And then I think another dynamic of that is a lot of the times there's that resentment, but it's with the fathers. Mm-hmm. So usually people still have their mothers, which is that nurturing side, but then their fathers aren't in their life. For you, and I don't want to say like your mom wasn't in your life, but like you said, she was present, but not really present because of, you know, her addictions.
A lot of my friends didn't have dads, and they resented me because I had my dad.
Really?
And
so
I
was like flip-flop.
Yeah, it was weird. You don't meet a lot of people who didn't have a mom in their life. Like, or
that's what made me say that, because I can only imagine.
Yeah, you don't understand how important a mother's love is until you don't have one. And it's really important. I think, and that's why I think I'm really like particular with who I choose to love, and I really want to choose the right girl to be the mother of my kids. I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. Bro. My parents, you know, separated here and there, but my dad didn't believe in divorce because he was Catholic and he came from that old mindset. So they separated a lot, and there was a lot of like, I guess we lived like a divorced life, but they never really got divorced because of like the law and all.
But were they in the same house?
Yes and no.
So like off and on.
Yeah, off and on. My dad had an uncle, so sometimes I'd have to go stay over there. My uncle was from Croatia too, so it was kind of like that. But my dad always found a way to come back to the family, and I really respect him for that. But he also had to work 16 to 18 hours a day. So I didn't really get to know my dad until I became a man. But it's okay though. I really wish he would have been there more for me to like teach me how to like play basketball. But he can't play basketball anyway. So and he also can't play music for shit. So
that's interesting.
But one thing I wish my dad would have taught me when I was young is like, because he knows how to like lay floors perfectly and stuff, and like he knows how to paint.
Is that why you complimented the floors when you walked in? Yeah, that was the first thing you said. Because
I laid my floors in my studio and I fucked up. I'm like,
really?
And all I could think about the whole time, because I spent like $2,500 on this shit. I was like, fuck, Dad. Like if you would have just taught me this shit, like these floors would look good. I'm still mad at that shit. Like, you know, and I remember painting the walls and like I'm looking at all the like, you know, little paint marks on the floor, and I'm like, Dad, why didn't you teach me this shit, bro? Like this paint was like $500. Like, come on. So that's the only thing I wish my dad would have been there for. But I respect him for going out and working 18 hours a day. Like that, it takes a real man to do that. I used to resent him because I wanted him in my life and be there, but he had to do what he had to do. He also got in a car accident when I was 16 and tore his meniscus. And that motherfucker didn't get surgery for 2 years. He went back to work the next week.
Wow.
Do you know what the meniscus is?
I've torn mine.
Yeah. He tore that shit.
Wow.
And went back to work the next week.
Wow.
I don't know how he did
Yeah,
that.
that's crazy.
His knee is bone on bone now.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I definitely tore mine in high school. I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So back to moms. So you obviously mentioned how you and dad's relationship is now, and again, share as much as you want. But how is you and mom's relationship at this point?
It's bad.
Really?
I love my mom to death. Again, I don't believe in. I will never talk shit about my own mother. I'm just saying this in case there's someone that needs to hear this, because I met a lot of people growing up. Now that I'm older, I met a lot of men who didn't have mothers either, and they felt alone. And so I would be like, "Hey, bro, let me tell you something about me. She's not doing the best right now. Still battling her demons. I believe that all the substance abuse has kind of like her consciousness is kind of going away. I don't feel like I'm talking to my mother anymore, which hurts. But as I'm growing up and becoming older, I've learned that I can't control her. I can't hold her hand and keep her out of that life if she doesn't want to change. So I've learned to love her from afar. However, I have made the decision that when I am on with my music, I'm gonna get her into a nursing home, and I'm gonna pay for that. And whatever she wants to do is okay, but I can't supply her with money right now because I know what she's gonna do with it. So when I have the money, I'm gonna get her a nursing home, maybe even get her a house and like people to take care of her. That's what I'm gonna do, because I believe that heaven's at the mother's feet. No matter what happens, you got to do what you got to do for your family.
That's a fact.
And at the same time, my mom went through a lot of shit with her mom. My grandma was horrible to her.
I was just about to say, bro.
So I understand the demons she has. Like my grandma, bless her soul. But I remember growing up, my mom wouldn't let me see her mom. I didn't get to know my grandma either. So I heard stories, but whatever my grandma did to my mom, it was so bad that my mom did not want my grandma in my life.
Wow.
So and my grandma had 13 kids with 4 different men on my Mexican side.
Wow.
And she was a party girl too, and she actually died of the same thing that my mom is battling right now.
Wow, bro.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's crazy that dichotomy, but I saw the hate that filled my mom's heart, and sometimes I catch myself acting the same way, and I don't want to hate my mother, and when I do have kids, I'm gonna do my best to allow my mother into their life, because I don't want to be like that. You have to break the curse, So that's that. I'm taking this as a lesson. Like
it's so interesting that you bring that up, right? Because I always wonder that. It's like if I'm ever, because luckily, my son is great, my daughter is great. I don't really deal with behavior issues when it comes to them, but I always I know a lot of people who do, right, that are pretty close to me, and I always wonder, like, if I'm ever put in that position where I have to choose, like, to cut off somebody that's like my child or my parent, like, could I do it? I can always say I can do it from this point of view, because and you don't have kids yet, so and I'm talking from somebody who has kids. My number one priority are my kids. I don't give a fuck. Everybody knows. Like, even my clients today, if my daughter was sick, we would have canceled this because my kids. I tell everybody,
I respect
my
that.
kids come first.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what. That's why I can't work for corporate America. Same shit though. Because if something has to do with my kid, I'm not coming to work.
I want to talk about that, but keep going.
Yeah, for sure. So I always wonder, like, bro, if it comes to a certain point with my parents, and we're nowhere near that, don't get me wrong, but it's just like I don't envy you, for one, because it's like I could never imagine being put in that situation where it's like I can't get to where I need to go with you on my back. You know what I mean? Like, I have to create some type of distance or separation in order to get to where I need to get to, and I have this plan to come back to you, come back for you, 100%. But
right now, you're extra weight.
Exactly.
And it's hurting when you have that extra weight dealing with someone else's baggage. It hurts your soul.
And what's also interesting, even if you had the money right now, it would still be a mental burden.
And it takes a lot to, like,
you know what I mean? That's almost worse than just a financial, because even me listening to you, and I hate to keep blabbering off, but even listening to you speak, it's like you're gonna figure it out. I can just tell that by your demeanor and how you talk.
Everyone tells me.
Yeah, how you're talking about your story, but it's like, so the financial part I'm not even really more so focused on, but it's like dealing with your mom, and again, this is no disrespect, I don't know your mom, I'm just speaking in general. It's like that could pull you back into that lifestyle that you're trying to stay away from.
It kind of did.
Really?
The reason I came to that conclusion is because when I was 24, I was working 2 jobs as a bartender, and I got a little bit lost in the sauce because I was getting free alcohol. And when my mom, the spinal thing, my mom she didn't have any money, she couldn't work. I still pay my mom's phone bill right now, and like, I help her out when I can, but I was helping her out a lot more, and when I couldn't really even help myself. So I remember just giving my mom money on all this. And I was kind of blocking it out. I'd go meet her at the bar and give her money. I was like, oh, well, you're going to use this for groceries? She goes, I'm going to use it for groceries. And I knew what she was going to use it for, but it, you know, like.
It made you feel a little better just hearing her say it.
Yeah, but then walking away and blocking that out, it hurt me more because then I'd go, I remember like going to her house, you know, and I'd be like, oh, let's go to Costco, let's go get you some groceries. And she'd be like, no, just give me the money. I'll get it myself. I'm like, Mom, you can't walk. Let me go get you some groceries. She's like, no, just give me the money. And I'd do that. And I almost become, I was enabling her. So that's why I came to that conclusion. I'm like, look, I can't do this for you anymore. And also, I'm giving her money that I don't have.
Right.
This is money that I needed for my music, for my studio, for credit card bills, and I'm giving it to her, and she's using it on bullshit. And so that's why I came to that conclusion. So that's the reason. That's the reason I'm doing that. And it's tough because when I tell people about this, like they're like, a lot of people, when I don't open up to them about them, they say the same thing. That's your mom. That's your mom. And then I go, all right, look, bro, I get it, but I'm gonna tell you something. And then they go, oh, fuck, what? And I'm like, yeah, that's the reason it is. I do not want to be a bad son. I'm actually being a better son by bettering myself.
I agree.
And who knows, you know, maybe one day maybe one day she does like finally check into rehab and stay there.
And nobody's going to change until they're ready.
You can't change anybody.
Nobody on this earth. I don't care if you're their parent. Mm-hmm. I haven't dealt with this firsthand, but there's so many people close to me. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why I won't say exactly who they are because they'll know. Uh-huh. And I don't want to put their business out there, but dealing with similar situations with their own kids, with their parents, to be honest, my mom went through it with her dad who just recently passed away. And quick story. So it got so bad with my mom and her father that I had to make the decision for her to get him out of her house. Oh. Because I said, he's going to outlive you because he's going to kill you from stress. Yeah. He has to go. Yeah. He needs 24-hour not surveillance, but yeah, he needs 24-hour care. 24-hour care. He needs it. You can't go, because my mom does hair, she has her own shop, you know. You can't go to your shop work and have to come home and worry if he's walked out the house and down the street and told the neighbors that you're abusing him in here. And I know you aren't. And he's battling dementia, early stages of dementia.
That's tough.
So it's like, and then not only that, it's like, my mom she's a great person. She's such a loving, family oriented, just empath. Empath. Yeah, exactly. So it's like and then what I realized what she was doing with her father was she was trying to make up for lost times because of such a toxic childhood that she went through.
That's what I was doing.
You see what I'm saying? But I had to tell her, and it hurt me because I know it hurt her to do that. But it's like, all right, Mom, at this point, I'm going to be burying you because of him. And that's not fair to us. You know what I mean?
I need you.
Yes. Yeah. Like, we need you.
My kids need a grandma.
Yes. You know what I mean? And he, like I said, he recently passed, and I loved my grandfather. You know what I mean? Because I'm one of those people now, I don't really take much shit personal. So it's like, and because I'm so self-aware now, I can kind of read people even better. So when people are battling their shit, I don't even take it personal. Okay, whatever. You're drunk right now. You talking shit, whatever. And one they're out the other. So it's like, I don't dislike them or hate them, but it's like, bro, you need to focus on, again, who's loving you. You know what I mean? Parent, because we don't choose our family. We don't choose most of our friends growing up because you're picking from this little, web of people.
And you're also picking from what you know.
And what you're around. Yeah. Again, you didn't choose to be born in Sacramento, but you had to pick from the friends so now when you grow up, again, your best friend at that time, now you guys probably aren't as close, but you guys have different things in common. And I went through the same shit, so that's why I understand it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Another thing about, like, that the dichotomy of family and all that is, man, like, when we're all going to get old one day. Yep. And some of us are going to still have our minds, some of us aren't. Yep. And it's tough because if it gets to the point where you have to see your mom go through that again, you got to make that choice too. And it doesn't mean you don't love your mom. Yep. It does not mean you don't love your mom. You got to do what's best for you. And sometimes you're doing that out of a place of love. Yep. So I respect that too.
What did you want to say about the corporate America thing?
Man, the system, I realized that when I went to Croatia. I always kind of realized it, but I'm realizing it more now. The system has kind of like is made to separate kids from their parents. Like, if you think about it, your kid goes to school for 8 hours a day, right? You got to get up an hour early to go drive them. They got to get there at least 30 minutes early, right? Let's make that 8 hours into 8.5. If your kid has any after school activities, that 8 hours and a half can go to 10 hours a day. Your kid's got to sleep for 8 hours. So that means 5 days a week you're away from your kid. You're away from your kid verbally and emotionally for 18 hours, assuming you are a normal parent. Now you got to work too. So what if you have to work? There's going to be some days where you might not see your kid. And then the system has set it up so both parents have to work 40 hours. So now who's watching your kid? The school.
Yeah, the system.
So now the system. So now who's your kid's parent? It's the system. It's the teacher who might be an asshole, who didn't even have a good education, who might hate,
who hates his job,
who might hate your kid, who might hate black people, who might secretly hate Mexicans, who might vice versa hate.
You never know.
Exactly.
You really don't even know this person.
Yeah. Now that this kid's raising your kid, and then you're not there to really know everything that's going on. You think your kid's the angel of the world, and then he turns 16 or she turns 16. You find out this kid's been smoking weed since he was 12.
Yeah.
Now who's your kid's father? It's that kid who didn't have a father who started smoking weed early. It gets to him. That's how the system's set up.
How the environment is raising your kid.
And I think it's really important. We got to bring fathers back into light. I think we live in a generation that's kind of shamed men for wanting to be men. I'm not talking about pimping.
Yeah.
I don't condone that. I don't believe in manipulating women for money.
Right.
It's fun to like kind of rap about and listen to, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to reality, we need to be better people. And I think because of how toxic men used to be a couple years ago, women are fed up. So now they're just fed up with all men, and now they don't even want fathers in their life. But a family dichotomy is super important.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you grow up with a single mother, you're gonna look at men differently, whether you're a daughter or son.
Yep.
Vice versa, if you grow up without a mother, you're gonna look at women differently. And I just feel like that's been a direct cause of social media, the system separating parents from their kids, and then kids just getting raised by like what they see on TV.
Yep.
It's a problem. And the reason I realized this is when I went to Croatia, and also when I met some of my friends in Saudi Arabia, like it was normal seeing the mother and father still together. Like I went all around this village and I'm meeting all these Middle Eastern people. The mother and father are still together, and that's the norm.
Yeah.
Divorce is weird,
Frowned upon, yeah.
And the shit that we're going through, the shit that I'm going through with my mom, the shit that you might have gone through with women, that's considered abnormal in other countries.
Yep.
Over here, being toxic is like, well, that's what it is.
Well, you know what? I think something that plays a part in that is just it's like, and this is in platonic relationship. This is in a family dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like with the rise of the internet over the last few years and social media and just podcasts, to be honest with you, just so many people having a platform to just put their opinions out there and their perspectives, which I'm not always against, but it's like not everybody needs a platform in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I think with that happening,
some people need a 9 to 5.
yeah, facts. With that happening though, I feel like roles have become so gray. So we don't really know what roles we play in each other's lives anymore. Because like you said, women are making more money than men these days.
Facts.
They don't want to stay at home and raise the kids and do this and that because shit, I can go get me a bag now. So I want to be able to. I don't want to have to need you. You know what I mean? Because over there, I feel like they still depend on the husband to take care of the house and do all these things. But
yes and no.
Really,
yes and no. That's the thing. The women work too, and but they're happy.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like
that's what's most important.
Yeah, like the husband. Here's the thing, like, and I don't want anyone to take what I'm saying and twist my words and cut this up and say that I'm misogynistic. But if they do, fuck it, I don't give a fuck. Like at the end of the day, the person who laid these floors, whoever it may be, was most likely a man, and the person who painted this wall and built this building were most likely men.
Right.
And so we gotta like respect that. That shit's tough. Like, especially seeing my father do that shit's tough. Him tearing his meniscus and still going to work and doing hard labor, that shit's tough. So we need to respect that. So it's okay if men and women work or women work. That's okay too. But what I still noticed about like that dichotomy overseas is like when something needed to get fixed, like when it came to the house or when someone needed to go outside and do like the hard labor, it was the men doing it. And then the woman was happy to stay inside and make the coffee. And I think it's still like that, but we're not respecting men for doing that. Like construction's hard.
Yes.
Like the system, like even like to this day, infrastructure is built by men, and they don't get paid that much. Like the people that are laying down solar, the people that are laying down floors, they're men. And
that's what I was just about to say when you finished is I think again because now people can get rich just from turning on cameras and talking. Now people can
OnlyFans.
Right. It's so many different ways to get money now and then they're making more money than these construction guys.
Yeah, and then they can just pay someone.
So now exactly. So now the average woman is looking at the construction guy as a bum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like in reality, he's in a great fucking position because he has consistent income. There's so many different dynamics to it. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
So that I think again that still plays a part in what I was saying.
And here's back into that part. Money can't buy you happiness, and it comes down to the point where like, yeah, we got these girls making $1 million of OnlyFans, but maybe they're happy in their youth. But what happens when you're 40? What happens when you're 50?
Well, and again, you're right. But then at the same time, happiness looks different for everybody. So your perception of happy might not be what maybe they don't want to get married. That's another new thing. Now a lot of women don't even want to be married.
And maybe I can't really understand that. Me growing up in the family that I grew up in, and just seeing that, I can't imagine not reproducing. I can't imagine not getting married or having like a family dynamic. Like I want to have 4 kids. I want to have a wife, and I want to, I want to live a fulfilling life, a fruitful life. And I just don't understand how like this day and age. Another thing is like, just especially after getting in the relationship with my ex, is like money was a big issue. Like, oh, you can't take me to Hawaii. You can't meet. Like, I'm like, I want to, but I'm working on my career right now. And I'm like, but why do I have to buy your love?
The internet.
And, exactly. And people are, I don't believe that these OnlyFans girls are happy. Maybe I believe that they're programmed to think that they're happy, but deep down inside, when you get into your bed alone and there's not a man who truly loves you for your soul, and vice versa, when there's not a woman in your bed who truly loves you for your soul, you don't go to bed happy. You go to bed looking for something. We all feel that void.
With something. I agree with that.
So maybe there's a couple. Maybe I'm fucking wrong and I'm stupid and ignorant, but
it's all perspective, bro. None of us have the answers. I mean, I don't 100% disagree with you either. I just feel like, again, there's people who look at me and might think, I mean, I've been single for, like I said, almost 5 years now. I would love to come home to a woman every night. Love it.
But you just can't.
I'm just careful, bro. I'm at the point in my life to where I can't waste no more time. I can't risk. I've come so far in so little. And don't get me wrong, I was always a great guy. You remind me a lot of myself, just in a lot of the story that you're telling. And again, I used to drink a lot. I was always a good guy, though. That's why I don't have enemies. I don't have any enemies. I don't have no problem.
You can walk outside.
Yeah, me and all my exes are still decent. We're still cordial. You know what I mean? It's like, so I was never a bad guy, but I had demons that I was still fighting, and I was suppressing them with alcohol and partying, having sex with a bunch of girls, knowing that was never really me.
Exactly.
Because it was just the society's, that was just what you're supposed to do. Being an athlete, just trying to live the life. I mean,
the popularity.
Again,
life.
The entertainment industry, same thing that you probably dealt with. It's like what you are, what you kind of turn into, what you surround yourself with.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, bro, it's just a matter of like, okay, I know this is not what I really want to be. So what can I do to change that? And again, people probably thought, damn, Justin, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, bro.
Single too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I would love to have somebody, but it's not worth. It's a big risk, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel the same way, but still, you see what you said though. You want somebody
for sure,
and that person will come. I can tell you're a good guy.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's fun keeping your peace, but like even me, like I'm happy right now. I like what I'm doing, and I have a lot of people that depend on me, especially at the studio. I didn't even cover that. Like how many people are like looking at me like as this leader, like, oh, he's gonna make it, and then we're gonna be good, and then having that weight on my shoulders.
It's pressure, bro.
Yeah, it's pressure, but I'm happy. I like where I'm at in my life, and I don't have a woman. But at the same time, when I go to bed at night, I'm like, damn, it would be nice to have someone to love right now. You feel me?
Even to bounce ideas off of. That's why when a lot of the famous couples divorce, and then they say, oh, the wife or the husband who wasn't the superstar is asking for some money. I'm not always really mad at that because I guarantee you, if I had a woman who was just and again, I expect. I expect my woman to have a certain level of IQ to where she can, digest the type of shit that I like to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, would you like some food?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But imagine just having somebody I can come home to that I can because I do a lot of stuff outside of the podcast.
I need someone to feed my soul.
Exactly.
I need to come home and feel like you complete me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that. I want to bring back love, bro. Like I do have a lot of songs about. I have a lot of songs about everything, but everything that I've made isn't necessarily what I believed in. It's just shit that I was going through at the time. Yeah. Like I have a song called "Fuck Love." I wrote that because I was heartbroken, and it was a good song, and it's a hit, so I wrote that about that. But if you listen to my music, I do advocate for love. I want to bring that back,
But the good thing about music is there's somebody who can listen to "Fuck Love" tomorrow that's going through that
breakup
that moment.
Exactly.
And you probably made it 6 years ago. I don't know when, but it's
I dropped it September.
Okay, September. But it's like again, somebody could 6 years from now could be going through it, and because I love. It's funny because that you say that because I love like. I'm an R&B guy, right? But I love like the heartreak R&B, like the toxic R&B almost, where the guys is getting their shit off back at the women. You know what I mean? Because there's a narrative that gets painted when it comes to like when relationships don't work, it had to be the guy's fault, and this sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But yeah, so I gotta go listen to "Fuck Love" when we finish.
It's a good song, bro. It's a really good song. I also got a song about liking a girl when she doesn't have any makeup on. Feel me? So I got a little bit of everything. But yeah, I feel like we need to push this narrative of like being loyal to your woman, and then vice versa. Women being we got to push the narrative like relationships are hard. You know,
Yes.
you're not everyone like right now they want to meet this perfect person and they don't want to go through it at all. You guys don't. No one wants to have any arguments. They don't want to deal with any bullshit because we're so scared of that heartbreak. Heartbreak sucks. It don't matter how strong of a person you are. Everyone's so scared to get heartbroken that they have these walls up and then they start becoming this monster, and it's spreading everywhere in the world. But we need to bring back relationships, bring back being loyal, and it's a problem. But people are scared of being loyal. I don't believe there's any bad people in the world. I think there's just people who've been hurt, and then there's people who've been hurt who end up hurting people.
And now it's just a cycle.
Yeah, but I really want to advocate for that. Like, if you love someone, treat them like it.
That's another reason why I didn't date for so long, was because it was like,
that's the reason I didn't get into a relationship.
Yeah,
I just got out of something with a girl after my ex, and I met a girl and she's nice and she wanted to get in a relationship like this. And I'm so and I just realized I'm like, oh, I haven't healed yet.
Yep.
So I couldn't waste this girl's time.
And see, I appreciate people like that more than people who just jump. And again, you might get over shit fast. That's, hey, whatever. That's right. I agree. But hey, again, whatever you think is right, that's on you.
Yeah.
But I just looked at it like, okay, I don't want to play it because I have 2 kids with 2 different women. You see what I'm saying? I have 2 kids with 2 different women.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like I don't want another. For one, I don't want another baby mama. For 2, I'm 31 now, so I don't want it to get to the point where I'm not ready and somebody else is, and then it's like that's our downfall. And at the same time, I made the conscious decision to where I'm ready. I feel like I'm ready, right? I feel like my next relationship will probably be my last. You know what I mean? But if you're not ready, I'm not going to try to teach you to be ready.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm at the point now where I'm ready to meet somebody ready, and then we can continue to grow together.
You want to know what I'm scared of when it comes to relationships is, okay, so I've dealt with heartbreak and stuff, but I know that deep down in my soul, even right now, whether I'm still going through a little bit, I know that I'm ready to be a good man still. But it's because of like exactly what you said. Like, I'm just scared that I'm not ready, so I don't want to waste someone's time. But here's the thing. Another thing that I'm scared of is, what if I do meet someone that's good for me, and I'm so scared that I'm not ready that I miss out on that opportunity. Yep. That's another thing I'm scared of. Not just scared of getting hurt, but I'm scared of missing the opportunity with the right person. Just because when you deal with so much betrayal and so much heartbreak and just so much whatever, manipulation, narcissism, all of a sudden you just have these walls up with everybody. Yep. And there's been times that like I've met people that genuinely cared about me, but they just did one thing similar in the past, and I'm like, oh, you're just like that person. And that's what I'm scared of. What if I have so many walls up that I don't meet that right person? You know
what's important that my therapist kind of has been working with me on when it comes to just forgiving people and just getting past shit, not taking shit personal. It's like whoever that person shows you are in that moment doesn't make them who they are like
in the future.
Yeah, like forever. You know what I mean? And it's like,
and then it hurts.
But then it's a thin line, and you have to be careful because sometimes now when it becomes repeat behavior, then you got something to worry about.
I'm not gonna lie. So remember what I told you about the knife story with my mother? Uh-huh. I've dealt with 3 women right now that have pulled a knife on me. Really? Talk about, I'm telling you, look up Sigmund Freud. Okay. You have to.
I've heard the name Freud. I remember that name.
Yeah, he's a famous philosopher. Not all of his stories, not all of his ideologies are correct, but it's crazy when you like read into it and you start comparing yourself with what he says. But that's what I've noticed is like when you deal with something so traumatic, especially with someone that you loved, a woman that you loved in the past, and they do something like that, what's hard for me is like me trying to like love that person and then like letting them go and knowing how much I love them. And then it hasn't happened yet, but what if I see that person totally different, becoming the person that I needed them to be? I don't know if I'm going to be happy for that person. If that makes, like I want to be happy, but at the same time, like, why wasn't I good enough at the time?
I realized that in my last relationship.
And I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be envious, but it's that natural
It's natural human.
Exactly.
That's human nature.
Like, how come you couldn't be that friend for me when I needed you? Or how come you couldn't be that woman for me when I needed you, but you're being that with this person?
But and I went through that with my last relationship, and her and I kind of just had that conversation. It was almost like neither one of us were ready in that moment, but we both accepted the fact that and this is before we had because this is my daughter's mom I'm talking about. So this is before we had our daughter, because we broke up before we had our daughter. But it was almost like, if we don't work out, you're gonna be great for somebody someday,
and that's better for the world. You
know what I mean? And it's like, and again, it might be this, because I used to think like that too. Like, oh no, I gotta I got to get you to where I know you can be. You have so much potential. And I think she felt the same way about me. But when I started to realize, like, you know what, bro, not everything is meant to last forever. Even if I do get married, like I would want my wife to, if she's not in this no more, wake up and tell me like, hey, this ain't working out. Let's move on. All right, bet, let's do that. Because if the more we try to hold on to it and force it, the more resentment is just gonna keep building and building. And that's just my opinion. Yeah. Now I know you from what you've been saying, I'm kind of getting that you're one of those like work through it, get through it, stick together type people. But
but I'm okay with breaking up if it's toxic. Don't get me wrong. I stay in relationships longer than I needed to. Yeah. I have tendencies to learn the lesson 10 times. Yeah. But no, I would prefer that we stay together. I would prefer that we stay together into old age because that's beautiful, and I prefer that we can whatever. Here's the thing. Relationships can last forever as long as you avoid 3 problems: infidelity, cheating. It does that you can never let that go. Man or woman, you know, like that you can say whatever, oh man need bitches and all that, but nah, dude, women do not like getting cheated on. They don't like it. That's what, and then after that, they gonna cheat on you. Yep. So infidelity is a really, really bad one. Number 2 that's really important in a relationship is respect. You can work through any bullshit, any argument, but as long as you both respect each other, you can last forever. And then the third one is trust. If you can both trust each other, I'm not talking about like cheating, like just trust each other. Like, hey, here's some money. Can you go deposit that in the bank? This is $10,000, and you can trust that they're gonna take that and deposit all $10,000. That's the 3 pillars of a relationship that you can last forever. And once you start playing with that, that's when it's hard to stay together. It's hard to let shit go.
And when you talk about trust, because again, we with the social media climate, we have this running topic.
I'm ready for whatever you're about to say.
You're running with this. They're running with this like what do you call it? Like submissive women, or the women in their soft girl era, whatever they call it these days. But I think with the trust thing, it really goes into, like I said earlier, when it comes to roles. I don't mean like gender specific roles, like the man goes to work, the woman stays at home and cooks and cleans. But I mean, hey, if I meet a woman and she's more financially sound than me and she understands money better than me, I'm gonna trust her to make our financial decisions. You know what I mean? Or if obviously I have my positive traits and character traits that I have that I'm great at, and I need my woman to trust. Like sometimes I might need you to lead, and sometimes and that's just how I think relationships should work when it comes to trusting people. Because if you're better at me than this, then I'm gonna hire you to do it in my business. You know what I mean? So if we're in a relationship and I know that,
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, like if I know my woman is more level headed, right? Okay, let's put it like this. I'm a more level-headed guy, right?
I can tell.
So I have a calm demeanor. You know what I mean? I hardly ever raise my voice. I don't really, unless I'm coaching. But I never really get upset or riled up really like that. So when it comes to like confrontation or shit, I'm usually the spokesperson. I'm usually the person that will go and diffuse the situation before it gets to the next level. You know what I mean? And in the relationships, you have to understand who plays what part better in order. And again, I think that goes into trust. Like you said, it's not just about, when you say you're going here, I know you're really there and I know you're not cheating on me. It's like, no, I need to be, hey babe, can you do this? What do you think about this? You know what I mean? Like, should we buy this? Like, you know what I mean? It's like little shit like that. And I feel like when it comes to relationships, we just think so much of, we put so much merit into, he cheated or she cheated, that's why they didn't work out. It's like, nah, it's not always that, bro. It's just, we're just not compatible for whatever reason. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Man, I think about this too. The cheating thing, I've been cheated on. I don't know if you've ever been cheated on.
For sure.
I've also cheated before. I'm not gonna lie. For sure. I'm not gonna act here like I'm the perfect man. I didn't cheat him. I didn't in the past, but I got out of that stage really, really early. Like I was a very unfaithful man. Now, if I get in a relationship, I'm not going to waste my girl's time. I'm not going to cheat on her. Yeah, but I've been cheated on before. And here's the thing. The girl that I did cheat on when I was 21, I still loved her so much. You know what I mean? But after she found out, she couldn't do it anymore. And then she ended up getting with some dude that treated her worse and then cheated on her too. I cheated on her because I was an idiot. Yeah. But I still treated her good. So like it makes me think vice versa. Like when I got cheated on, I'm sure that girl loved me. She just whatever. Can you work through that shit? Like, can you really let that go? It's hard, bro. Like,
you're asking me, can I?
Can anybody? Like it's hard to like just like let that shit go because like when you give your body to someone, you have that soul tie, and then they end up giving that tie to someone else. Like that hurts. I can handle you talking to me some type of way, but you giving your body to someone else when I love you while we're together, I don't know if I'd ever be able to let that go. It's like that's ones I'm trying to think, does that make me immature? Can you let that shit go? Because, you know, how come you can call me like an asshole or you ain't shit and I can forgive that, but the minute you give your body to some other dude, it's done. You know, like, is it? It's.
Let me ask you this: do you think that's like selfishness in a way?
I don't, but I want to open my mind up, like forgiving somebody if that happens. Because what if I really love this girl and she's great, and then she just makes one mistake? Would I just?
Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
when you meet a girl, does her past matter to you?
Yeah,
It does.
it does. And,
Can I ask why?
Moral code. And
Your moral code.
her moral code too.
Well, you can't define her moral code though.
Okay, yeah. So my moral code, but moral code and you know, the type of person that they are is really important to me. So if I hear that in her past 10 relationships she's cheated, or she's what's gonna make me any different?
But do you think people can change?
Absolutely.
Do you? And I'm not interrogating you.
No.
I'm just offering pushback to what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you?
But do I want to take that risk?
That's what I was.
That's what I'm saying.
Ask.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you? Would you? Let's say if you meet a girl and she asks you, "Hey, have you ever cheated on somebody?" and you say, "Yeah, when I was 21," and won't you want her to afford you the ability to prove that you've changed?
Yeah, but I've also gone through the healing process. I've already my past relationships, I've been loyal. So like that college era, it's very different now. I'm a very different person. I'm talking about if.
But when you say that to a woman, that just comes off as game to her.
Yeah.
You know that.
But it's like, I'm talking like meeting a girl and she's perfect, but then like literally she tells me like, oh yeah, like I just got a relationship 3 months ago. It's already red flagged to me. I'm like, oh, 3 months, like you cheated.
I was more so when I meant past. I meant so talking about like, let's say if you heard she used to have sex with a bunch of different people, like would that.
Well, I guess on one side of the spectrum I'm like, oh damn, you a hoe, but then on the other side of the spectrum I'm like, damn, you know what you're doing.
Now you my hoe.
Yeah, I'm definitely more open minded, but it's just that back of the mind thought. I want to know, like, can I ever just let that go? Because it's always there. It's always there when you're in a relationship.
Do you think that's insecurity?
Absolutely. But we're all insecure.
For sure. 100%.
It's just, do we feed it? Just like we're all angry, we're all jealous.
We all have all emotions.
Do we feel that thought? Do we fuel that thought?
And then what triggers them also? What brings the certain emotions out of you?
Yeah.
But to go back to your question though, and that's the only reason I asked those follow-up questions, because I was sitting over here thinking about that right now. I think that I could forgive somebody for cheating on me, but there has to be like there's so many factors that goes into cheating.
They got to bring a lot to the table.
Not even that. It's just cheating is such a broad word. There's so much that goes into cheating that could go into cheating. So it's like,
I'd rather not.
To what extent did you go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I'm just saying, like, for the woman, like, if you cheated on me, okay, yeah. Were you just texting another dude? Were you entertaining them? Did y'all have sex? Did y'all have sex multiple times? Did y'all have sex unprotected?
How long?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, all kind of, there's a bunch of questions I'm going to ask. Okay. But I don't know, bro. I don't know if I can forgive cheating. I think I can, but do I want to deal with it? No. And then I feel like I'm 31 now. So bro, I've had sex with so many people, bro. Like like you said, you went a year without having sex. I've never timed it specifically, but I can almost guarantee I went longer than a year without having sex.
Really?
100%.
Yeah.
100%, bro. Because I'm to the point now where I can't really have meaningless sex with people.
Yeah, me neither.
And then I don't even have anybody that I text on the regular. I don't have anybody that I'm dating, nothing. Like I'm locked in. Locked in
on your purpose.
Yeah, and it's been like that for a while. So I'm getting to the point where okay, I need to start dating or something soon. But it's like I've just been so focused on other shit for so long now.
Yeah, you know why you can do that though? You already got 2 kids. Yeah, you already got a purpose to where that shit doesn't matter.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
That's awesome. You know what I mean? I don't. To be honest, like I like to be open up to stuff, but I don't think I could ever actually truly forgive it. It would take a lot of healing. I think if a woman cheated on me and I truly loved her, once that trust is broken, the healing process is very long. You know, like it wouldn't just be a month or 2 months or 6 months.
I don't think for anybody. I don't think anybody can say they've truly, unless you're just used to getting cheated on, which I think a lot of people are. They just expect their partner to cheat.
It sucks.
More so for men.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think women are sneakier. But
they are.
Yeah, for sure.
They are.
And they cheat in different ways. Like I said, that's what I'm saying. There's so many factors that go into it.
For me, I think what I don't even want to deal with in my next relationship. I don't want to deal with a guy in your DMs. I don't even want to deal with. Don't even reply to him. Like if he's over there doing hard eyes on your, don't even reply. Don't even open that.
I respect.
I don't want to do that, and I don't think that makes me insecure. I just want to be respected. I think some girls.
But see, I hate respect is so relative, bro. Because what you deem as disrespectful, she might not. Now that's why it's important to have those uncomfortable conversations.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And really put. Like I had a coworker who got married, and she was like 24, 25 at the time, and I'm asking her questions like, "Damn, really?" She's like, "Yeah." But we signed a contract. And I'm like, well, duh. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, no, we literally wrote out all the deal breakers for each side. We wrote out, if we decide to divorce, I get the kids. Like, they have everything planned out. And I'm like, damn, that's in there. She was some form of Asian. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was interesting to me because it was a business decision. It was like, she was like, I love him, but I mean, if we decide to break up, I get this, he gets that. You know, like they have.
I think that's great.
I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you cheat on me, we get divorced.
Yeah.
You ain't getting half.
You ain't exactly.
You know, unless but if this business that we started together, if we do divorce, you get half and half. With,
it's like everything is kind of laid out, so it's like what you're risking.
That saves you more money in the future,
and it saves you a headache.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It saves you the drama. It saves you everything because it's like we don't got to go to court. We don't got to do nothing. Everything is already contracted.
Exactly. But yeah, man, I think just if you love someone, treat them good. I do hope I have kids one day. I think I will. I don't know if it's gonna be time soon, but definitely
don't rush it, bro.
Don't rush it.
Yeah, keep taking it.
You don't think I'm too old?
No.
28. Thank you. I needed to hear that. No. All my friends had kids at 16. I'm watching these motherfuckers turn 11. I'm like, fuck, dude. Nah, when I have a kid, you're gonna be a grown ass man.
Yeah, but you're gonna not go through a lot of the stuff they went through though.
Yeah,
you're skipping that. You're getting yourself stable. I mean, you're already business minded. I mean, you're healing. That's fucking hugely important. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the times, like there's this show I watch, and I'm not gonna name the show, but I'll tell you off camera. But it's like there was a guest on there, and the guest pretty much was saying like, I had my son, and I had to pray to God for him to protect my son from me. As the mom said that. Like I had prayed to God for him to protect my son from me. And I was just like, damn, bro, like that's fucking deep. Whoa. Because we don't realize as parents, we have everything is habitual. So we go through our life doing all these things that becomes our norm that we don't really think how it affects other people.
Wow.
That's deep, right?
I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah, that's deep, bro.
It's real deep. Cause I know my demon, dude. Like you probably like a lot of people say that I'm a nice guy, but I know how evil I can get.
Oh,
I can get.
That's what scared me into therapy.
Yeah,
I started like you said earlier. You turn into a fucking monster.
Exactly.
And then it's hard to look at yourself the same because it's like, bro, this is not even me.
Yeah,
like,
but is it?
Right. You know that's the scary part.
That's the thing about demons. Like you know why they call them spirits? Liquor.
Why?
Because they summon demons. Spell casting. I believe. That's what I want to touch into, bro. I believe in demons to the fullest.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like I don't believe we can see them necessarily in the 3D, but I believe that like if we were like when we leave this body or when we leave Earth, or if we ever get to a point where we can see in the fifth dimension, we would see demons around us right now. Like I imagine there's a lot of angels protecting us right now. Maybe a demon trying to get in here, but I really believe in that.
I agree too.
Yeah, that's where the monster comes from.
So what do you do to control that?
It's funny, dude. I pray every day. Because you have to pray. I don't pray every day. I try to pray every day. I really want to though. This is funny, but I avoid pornography, and not just that. I avoid toxic videos that might because the brain is a very primitive thing. Like when you watch videos, your brain soaks in what it's watching. So if you watch negative gun killing videos all day, like rap music about killing people, your brain's gonna soak that.
That's why I don't really listen to rap.
Yeah, I don't really either. To be honest, I listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen to a lot of philosophers. I listen to beats. And no disrespect to my friends who make music. It has nothing to do with you. It's just like I want to feed this as much as I can. I want to become my higher self.
You're careful what you consume. I'm the same way, even on social media. Like my favorite new thing has been the mute button on Twitter and shit.
Because they always put up the ass. Yeah, it's always ass.
It's always all kind of just dumb shit that I don't want to consume. I don't want to consume in my life. I'm very, very careful. I'm careful with who I even have conversations with.
Yeah.
Not like that. It's not like I won't talk to you, but it'll be very surface level.
Yeah.
There's some people I'll go to the deepest of realms with, but I'm very, very careful with that though. Because of that reason.
Me too. I'm very careful too. Yeah. For me on the Instagram, it's always like I try to avoid this. So like that's why I know that the algorithm is meant to like attack us, but it's always all the girl stories first. I mute that shit. No offense to all my homegirls, but like you girls are toxic. I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? So like I mute that shit and I make sure it's all my friends who make music or have business, so I can be the first one to watch that. But it's always like Instagram's always suggesting the ass on my shit. I'm like, bro, where's the fucking self help books? Like,
let's say if you do have a moment where you might slip back into that dark side that you're trying to avoid, how well are you at forgiving yourself for that?
I'm good at it now. I'm very strong minded, and it's all about balance. But I gotta stop. I've been so hard on myself for my whole life, but I'm getting better at forgiving myself, and I'm in the process of learning to leave things in the past. That's my biggest battle right now. Is like I need to stop thinking about shit that happened in the past and focus on the present. Like even today, I woke up. I found myself thinking about like my ex, and then something that me and my dad had talked about when I was a kid, and it's like traumatic shit. And I go, why am I thinking about this right now?
I don't think it's always a bad thing to think about it, though. I think as long as you're thinking about it to address it, you're not thinking about it to. Because I was, again, my therapist, I was telling her, like, man, there's times where I could be just fine, and then I'll get, like, super hyper emotional. You know what I mean? And it's, like, to where I can't control it. Tears will just start rolling. And she's like, you know what that is that's that little boy Justin popping back up, and you're not in control of that. And he's looking for validation from the adult Justin. And I'm like, whoa. And you know what I start doing? Crying in the fucking therapy session, bro.
Really?
Yeah, I always cry in my therapy. She's used to that, thankfully.
I cried in my therapy session.
Yeah,
too.
but when she said that, it was just like, and this was like, what, a month ago when she told me that. And I was just like, oh, shit. Like, I never thought about that. Because I'm the type of person, I could be watching a movie or a show, and when there's something good happens, like they win the championship, I'll get the urge to cry. Or something bad happens, I'll get the urge to cry. And it's like I can't control that shit. And I see the same thing in my son. So it's like I'm very particular on getting equipped with those tools so I can, because I remember growing up being the crybaby and knowing how that felt, how people treated me. You know what I mean? I don't want my son to go through that. You know, as a parent, you're all about protecting your kids. You know what I mean? I take that shit very serious. So it's like, with her telling me that, it's like now I have my journal, because I journal a lot.
I journal too.
Yeah.
Whenever I feel anxiety, I hate anxiety, by the way.
Oh, it's the worst, bro.
It's like can't explain the
because you
feeling.
can't control it, and it's like it hits you in different ways. You sweat. It's the worst, bro.
Yeah, I hate anxiety, but every time I get anxiety, I write down what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling
Triggers,
it,
that's what I
and
do.
it makes me feel way better. That's anxiety is a motherfucker.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And you know what I don't like is worrying about my future too. Like, damn, like this is why it was good for me. This is why it's good to travel and get out. It's like I need to stop being like, damn, I'm Don Caprice. I'm 28. I should have kids. I should have 1 million streams on Spotify. Like, no, bro. Like, just be a good person, live life.
Focus on what you can control.
Exactly. Like, bro, if I never get as big as Drake or if I never get as big as Michael Jackson, who cares?
Bro, you know what's dope? So I've been doing my podcast since like 2019, I believe.
Hell yeah.
So like a little over 3 years. And I just had a clip last week on TikTok, hit 1 million views. And that shit felt amazing.
After 3 years.
After 3 years.
See, you that just gave me some
fucking amazing. It felt better than I thought it would feel, honestly. Like I almost wasn't prepared for it. Like I knew it, because I always felt like I had the content, and I always felt like that. It was like, bro, I just need the money to be able to have a team to where I can get help. Because again, I started doing all this shit by myself. Like when JB's not here, I'm running the cameras by myself. That's why I had to put the board over here so I can run it. You know what I mean? And I'm going to get to the point where I have a full team, but now I have a social media manager. I'm looking for an assistant and a publicist soon. And it's like to hit 1 million views on one of my clips was just like,
Did you pin that? You pinned that clip, right?
For sure,
okay,
bro,
bet.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And the good thing is I don't even run my TikTok. My social media manager does.
Really?
Yeah.
I need one of those.
Yeah, bro. It changed everything. Because my whole thing was I knew I had the content. I just can't sit, because I edit all my shit too. You know what I mean? So it's like I couldn't sit and post. She posts daily for me on my She runs my Instagram, my TikTok, and my YouTube channel. So she does all of that shit for me.
I hate it. I hate social media.
Oh, and that's another thing. I'm terrible at social media. It just overwhelms me, bro. Anxiety. It gives me anxiety.
Exactly.
I hate when people DM me. I hate all of that shit, bro.
Me too.
That's why when your manager emailed me, I was so grateful for that, because he emailed me off the bat. He didn't DM me. He just emailed me, and because when you DM me, I feel pressure. I have to respond right now, and maybe I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe I'm not in the right headspace.
Shout out RJ and Bryce. I have 2 managers.
Oh wow, that's what's up.
Bryce is RJ's like, dude, this guy is the one that emailed you. That guy is so smart.
That's dope.
Like he the fact that he even believes in me, like I feel better. And then Bryce is like the fun manager.
That's
Like, he's
dope.
like, yeah, let's do the party, let's meet people. They're amazing.
You need both though.
Yeah, shout out to my managers, because like I didn't want to DM you either.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, like I want to get on this podcast. This guy's dope, but like I'm so busy with the studio and all this that I don't know how to like press the issue. He's like, I got it.
That's dope.
Took away so much stress. Imagine if we were DMing each other for 5-6 weeks, or emailing you.
Trying to get it scheduled.
And my ego's so damn big that if you don't reply to me in a day, I'm like, man, all right, I'm gonna go figure something else out. That's why. So I feel you on that. I need to get a social media manager too.
Yeah, that shit makes a big difference.
Yeah, and I need to start posting more content too. I know how to edit videos too, but the thing is like I produce, I mix and master, I edit videos, then I'm singing, then I'm doing this, and then I need a team.
Yes.
Don Caprice needs a team, and I make clothes too.
Oh wow, that's what's up.
I make condoms too. I have Don Caprice condoms. Hold up, I didn't bring my backpack, but
wait, what?
I'm working on the paperwork right now. I made my own brand of condoms. It's probably not going to drop until 2024 though.
Really?
Yeah.
How did this even come about?
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so my ex went to EDC with her male best friend. And this is where like I was trying to be more open-minded to like not being a toxic dude. Like, okay, male best friend, okay, I don't like it. Let me see if I'm the wrong one. This motherfucker goes to EDC and it's just them, and like I'm still all my friends like, bro, please break up with her. I'm like, nah, bro, I want to like open up this portal and see, like I want to open up my mind and see like maybe my philosophy's wrong. I like to learn. This motherfucker gets out of he bought a whole bunch of condoms and put his like Instagram tag on it, right? So I was like, that's kind of weird. They said they're passing them out. He puts the condom on, goes on Instagram and goes like, hey, come over here. She turns around and puts her tongue on the condom and he tags her. I'm like, all right, bitch. This is where the monster comes. I'm like, all right, that's what you're gonna do? That's what time you're on? Watch this. So I made my own brand of bubblegum flavored scented condoms called Dondoms. Yeah. I don't get revenge by cheating. I get revenge by going back, because one of these days that bitch gonna fuck someone and he's gonna pull out a dondom. So when you fuck that person, you think of me, bitch.
That is great, bro.
Yeah.
I love you getting a round of applause for that, by the way. I love when you can take shit like that and fucking turn it into some type of monetization or just brand expansion type shit. I love it. That's fucking hilarious, bro. She's out of pocket for that.
Out of pocket.
Yeah,
I remember her saying like, you're insecure, I'm trying to support his brand. I'm like, you do not need to support his brand.
You can hire somebody to do some shit like that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Yeah.
But
that's crazy.
That's why when I'm trying to explain to you about like my problem, it was a problem. I tend to pick the wrong women. That's the type of shit I was dealing with, and still trying to love that bitch. But fuck that bitch. Man.
Yeah, that's all bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The monster. Like back in the day, like what I would have done if I would have saw that, I would go like fuck her best friend or something.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, why am I gonna do that? That makes me just as bad as them. I'm gonna use the energy, transmute it into something dope. I actually used the condoms. I wish I had some free samples for you, bro. They were dope.
That's fire.
They're 0.006 millimeters thin. Yeah. So like I used them. You can't feel the shit, bro. And like when you open up like a fucking Magnum and like you get that smell after you fuck the bitch, you're like, I don't want my bad. See, this is what I'm talking about. After you fuck the girl, after you have sex with the woman, it smells like pussy and piss and like that weird. These got bubblegum scented, so you can keep going. You feel me?
Wow.
You know what smell I'm talking about, right?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, it's the worst. I'm like, I don't like. What is this? Like, why does it smell like this? Like, I get it's like it's just because it's spermicidal lube, does it have to smell like booty cheeks? Like, man, bro. So that's the game I'm trying to change right now.
That's fucking fire though, bro.
It's like a $10,000 investment though.
Really?
So bro, you have to like design the box. Like you have to design the box, then you have to put the letters. It's a lot of work. Like I hired someone to design the box for me, and then like my friends helped me with the logo. And then at first they were called Don Caprice condoms. My friend was like, "Hey, bro, call it Dondoms." So now I got to give him a little bit of money for that. You feel me? But that's one thing that I'm getting into. But one thing that I have dropping next month is a wallet. But it's not a leather wallet. It's like for people that don't keep pictures of their family in there. Because if you lose that, I lost a picture of my mom one time in my wallet. And I can't forgive myself for that because that's the only picture I had of me and her of that picture.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, why put a picture in your wallet? I don't need to do that. It's just gonna get folded and crumpled. Keep pictures over there. So I made a wallet that's like it's a little box. You can put like 10 cards in there, and there's like a little packet for money because no one really carries cash anymore.
Is that out?
It's gonna be out in 30 days.
Okay, I
Yeah,
might
yeah.
need to buy one of those. 'Cause
It's good.
I have a traditional like folded wallet, and I was just telling a friend of mine that I want to get one of those more simple wallets that are like.
It's dope. I used it, and it's got like nice stretchy fabric, and I put my logo on it. It's gonna come in a nice package. Those are coming out in 30 days.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to buy
The
one.
reason I made that is because I ended up losing my wallet, right? And I remember my ex telling me, "You're a fucking idiot." Blah blah blah. What the fuck? I'm like, bitch, I just lost $200. How about you help me find the wallet instead of getting mad at me? What is wrong with you, you psychopath? Again, back to the thing of like when girls do me wrong, I'm not gonna go fuck your ex. All right. So she actually ended up buying me like a simple wallet. But then after we broke up, I can't have this in my life because it reminds me of you.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? Watch this. I'm gonna make a wallet.
And then it's crazy because you said you make your best music with heartbreak too.
Oh yeah, listen to Fuck Love.
Listen to all your inspirations, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I could just transmute that monster, that demon I have into making stuff, that's gonna be a lot.
But I mean, the first step is being aware of it, which obviously you are, and then I mean,
Mm-hmm.
shit, to be able to monetize and profit from shit like that, bro. That's
saying. Yeah.
it takes a fucking creative, open-minded person to even come up with shit like that too, though.
I was almost like insecure. I was almost thinking about like all the shit that I'm telling you. I've been on 3 other podcasts and I held this shit back because I was like, damn, it's gonna make me look weak and all that. But I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna open up about this stuff.
Well, I appreciate you for
I
sharing.
feel
it
like
on
this
one.
was the podcast to save that stuff
I
for.
appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
No, for sure. And that's kind of the platform I try to create. Is like that's why I'm very vulnerable as well because it's like the more I open up, the more it makes the guests comfortable and open. And
The industry needs this.
yes, bro.
We need this. Like
I
enough
agree.
of the whole. Like I don't want to diss any other podcast, but like they're doing this stuff like like drink and then talk about how many threesomes you had. All right, you're so original.
At the same time, I'm not even interested in those type of again. It
Yeah,
goes
like-
back to those type of conversations. I'm the type of person where I can pull inspiration from anybody. So when I'm hearing people, that's why I like hearing people's story because it's like, damn, you overcame that, or damn, you like, damn, that's dope, or damn, same here. You know what I mean? It's like you start, and that's why I started off listening to other podcasts because I was listening to artists and I'll be like, damn, that was where his mindset was when he made that song. I would have never thought that. You know what I mean? Or for whatever reason. But I appreciate you for coming down, man. That's dope. So what else you got going on other than that? Any new music coming out anytime soon?
Working on my 3rd album called The Curse of Empathy.
That's
I'm
dope.
glad we talked about it on this podcast.
That's dope.
Self-explanatory.
The curse of empathy.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Just like it's just really about like loving people and then getting done wrong and just like feeling like damn, like I still feel for you.
How do you make sure, you kind of touched on it earlier,
Hmm.
and I remember I tweeted this one day. It's like I try to make sure that I never let someone else's actions kind of change and dictate who I am internally, right?
Hmm.
And so how do you kind of stay focused on that when somebody does you wrong or fucks you over? You don't let that monster come out. You kind of stay in control.
I'm barely getting good at that now. Barely. So that's why I'm glad we came on this. Just boundaries, respecting my boundaries and respecting my moral code. Because, like I said, sometimes I have a moral code, and I think it's a good code. Sometimes there's room for space or there's wiggle room, but I have a strong moral code. I want to be a good person, and these are my boundaries. Respect that. And if someone doesn't want to respect that, you broke my moral code and you broke my boundary for what I need you to be. So I respect that boundary. Before, I wouldn't respect that boundary. I would change to try to get them to respect that boundary.
Oh, bro, you're preaching.
And I barely got good at that now at 28 years old. My whole life, I'd be like, oh, fuck. Like,
Bro, you're saying 28 like you're 50, bro. You're still young, bro.
I know, it's just, bro, I've been through so much. Like, there's stuff that we haven't even covered. I've been through so much. I've battled so much mental barriers and just shit that just that's why I feel low, because I feel like I've gone through way more shit than most people my age have. Not knocking anybody that's been through more shit,
right.
but that's why I talk like I'm old. Like I've always been old soul. Like I said, at 6 years old, I was like, I became aware of death at 6, like really like thinking about like going to heaven and going to hell and like consciousness at 6 years old.
Wow.
That shit, when you're doing,
heavy.
yeah, you know what I mean. I think it's because I'm an only child.
Were your parents religious?
My mom kinda was. My dad kinda is. My dad grew up Catholic, which is the most similar religion to Catholic is Islam. Islam's a little bit more hardcore, but they share very similar mindsets. Like in Croatia, like the old ladies, you know how like in Islam you're not allowed to like the women weren't allowed. So in Croatia it's kind of similar. They wear babushkas, but they're still allowed to show their face. But the women would wear like the babushka, which is like a dress that covers the whole body, and all you can see is the hands and the face. So it's very similar. My dad, he's more spiritual now. Like he believes in God, but he doesn't believe in religion. That's because in those countries, the Vatican and the church actually runs the villages. So if for example, like my dad was there, and his neighbor got like his house built for free because he would donate to the church, and he goes to church every week. So now the Vatican goes to those houses and takes care of those people. Like, oh, you believe in God? We're gonna use the village's tax money to build your house. So it's like, so that corruption's everywhere. Whereas my dad, who doesn't go to church every week, and he actually left the country, they go, "Now fuck you." So my dad has to dip out of his pocket and build shit himself.
Wow.
So he's religious, but there's like, that corruption. He doesn't fuck with corruption. My mom kind of uses church as an outlet to get forgiveness, but she doesn't follow the code. She kind of
that's deep.
Yeah, which is, so that's how religious they are. But I believe in God. It's actually when I grew apart from God, after I went through all that shit, that's when I got closer. Because I always tell people, if you don't believe in God, you better believe in the devil, because that guy's real, and that guy don't care if you don't believe in God.
He comes at you.
He wants you to not believe in God.
When you least expect it, he's coming in all shapes and sizes.
And he comes in a sweet form, or she comes in a sweet form, and or even in a substance, and then he goes, and it's really fun the first time, and then he gets you.
Got you.
Yeah, and then you become a monster.
Yeah, I agree, man. So what else, man? Before we close this out, this was dope, bro. We got to do this again for sure.
Appreciate you. Hopefully, I don't come back like drinking and smoking and shit.
But even if you do, bro,
it's like, bro.
Even if you do though, bro, it's like, because I still drink.
I do too.
It's like, but not nearly as much as I used to. It was a point where I was drinking like, bro, every other day.
I used to bartend.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even put myself in that position, bro. That's why I've never done any hard drugs, is because I know I have an addictive personality. And
good for you.
Yeah, I'm scared to even pop a pill. I'm scared of all of that shit, bro. I'm not fucking with it.
Good.
But yeah, so man, before you got anything to sign us out with, man, before we get up out of here, bro? Anything that you I think this will probably come out in a couple weeks. So maybe like 2 weeks, yeah.
I don't know. Just bring back love yourself, love your loved ones. Try and be a good person. Have a little bit of fun here and there, but remember who you are.
Yeah, man, that's dope, man. That's the one and only Don Caprice, man. I appreciate you pulling up,
Thank
brother.
you. Appreciate you. It was great.